Hi, and welcome to 15 Minutes of Fame from Edmonton, Alberta. I'm Jeffrey Driscoll.
And from Tehuacan, Mexico, I'm Jim Kerr.
Yeah, Jim, it was minus 27 this morning when I woke up. What was the temperature
Right?
there?
Oh, I don't even check the thermometer. I'd say close to 30, 27, 30, somewhere around there.
Yeah, 60 degrees. That's not cool, sir. That's not cool.
That's
Well, it is. It's cool here.
Yeah, from this side, it's pretty cool. Yeah.
Let's get right into it here, Jim.
A tan, Jeff.
Sorry, go ahead.
Said, you look like you're getting a bit of a tan.
Yeah, I am getting a tan. It's from my heat lamp is what it is. Just huddled around it. Whereas you're getting a tan, from the sun.
Yeah.
Good for you, sir. Let's get right into it here before you make me more jealous. The National Hockey League's trade deadline is set for February 28th at 12 noon here in Edmonton. Cold Edmonton. But it looks like a bunch of teams have gotten a head start there, Kersey. Colorado and Ottawa switched goaltenders on Friday, with Craig Anderson going to the Ottawa Senators for Brian Elliott. Boston clears some salary for trading Blake Wheeler and Mark Stewart to Atlanta for Rich Peverley and Boris Valabic. Let's talk about those two trades first. I mean, the first one with the two goaltenders switching looks like two disappointing goaltenders get a second chance of the new teams.
Well, Anderson was good in Colorado last year. He's struggled mightily this year, but Ottawa has, for a long time now, had trouble in net. I mean, if you find confidence in Pascal Leclerc and Brian Elliott, well,
you're in trouble.
You're a better man than I, because you look at the goaltending on that team for the last couple of years, and you need a good goalie to make any push. And The Ottawa Senators, I mean, they've got a lot of problems, but that's always been a big one. So maybe a switch of scenery for Anderson will help him get his game back that he had last year, because he was a pretty good goalie last season.
Yeah.
And with that in mind, he's only he's not far from regaining that form, I'm sure.
No, agreed.
As for Boston, I mean, they've been making some moves lately.
Yeah,
they're
it
one
looks
of
like
the biggest movers and shakers so far ahead of the deadline.
Yeah, absolutely. It looks like they're really going for a cup here. The Blake Wheeler and Mark Stewart trade actually to Atlanta. I thought we might have a chance at Wheeler. I thought maybe Wheeler would be a good forward for the Oilers to see. Maybe you could see a Cogliano Brule, one of kind of going over there, maybe with a second round pick or something, and we pick up Wheeler. That's kind of something I was looking at, but.
And in Rich Peverley, they get a very dependable forward as well, because he's done very well for Atlanta this season. So that's actually a pretty good trade, salary wise, and then on top of that, they get a good forward back.
Well, I mean, the reason that they did make that trade, Jim, was because they had to clear some salary. Because earlier in the day, they made the biggest trade of, well, I would say the trade deadline era right now. Yeah, they got Thomas Caberlet from the Leafs, traded for Joe Colburn, a conditional second-round draft pick, and next year's first-round draft pick from Boston. Make sure, though, to note that that's not Toronto's first-round draft pick that they had originally done for Phil Kessel, because that was what some of the rumor was. So what did you think of that one?
I wonder if Caberlet if it's a certain amount of weight off his shoulders after being rumored to be traded for the last 28 years. And seems like every year, is Caberlet gonna go? Is Caberlet gonna go?
This year for sure. This year for sure. It's Caberlet. This year for sure. No, not so much.
He gave a list.
Yeah.
And now finally he's gone. I wonder, it's like he's finally at the end of it. So maybe. Maybe he can relax and play a little. Maybe he'll be even better.
No, he's got to be feeling good.
Kind of talk just constantly, and then if it's not trade deadline, it's end of the season. Well, will Caberlet be back next year? Just constant. So maybe we'll see a more kind of loose Thomas Caberlet now that he's over in Boston.
I was just saying, Thomas Caberlet was my favorite Leaf. I don't have very many favorite Leafs, that's for darn sure. And Thomas Caberlet was my favorite. So it's nice to see him go to Boston. Looks like Boston's really making a push, Jim. Looks like they really want the cup this year.
They are, and they're a good team to start with.
Yeah, absolutely.
They've got a lot of good going for them right now, and these additions will only help. And you think about that Boston blue line right now with the addition of Thomas Caberlet. Not bad.
Yeah, not bad at all. On that same vein, it looks like Ottawa is completely clearing house, going for the rebuild. here. They got rid of fan favorite Mike Fisher, doing Fisher a favor by trading him to Nashville, where his wife is. Greatest headline I saw, Jim, I know this has probably been done by everybody else, but greatest headline I saw was Carrie Underwood's husband traded to Nashville. Absolutely love it. What do you think of that trade, and then specifically Ottawa cleaning house?
Well, just on the Carrie Underwood side of things, I was kind of flabbergasted by the amount of talk that I saw. Oh, did Carrie Underwood have anything to... It's a trade.
Yeah.
It's not free agent. But all these people that don't understand hockey and don't understand how the trades work.
Wait. Carrie Underwood didn't phone them up and be like, could you please trade my husband?
My client.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're really shaking it up there. I'm interested to see who else is going to go. Gonchar, Spezza, Phillips. I can see them trading those guys. But
on Hockey Day in Canada,
Spezza's been at Cabernet for the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Every trade deadline, is Spezza going to go? Is Spezza going to go?
Yeah.
Maybe this is the year, maybe not. But if this is the year, I mean, they need to start a new regime there. I'm not saying Spezza's the problem, but it's not working with what they've got right now.
No,
plain
agreed.
and simple. It's not working. So they have to figure out something else. And if I'm sure teams are throwing together packages, and maybe we'll see. I don't think they're going to want to settle for picks though, because if they trade, your Spetzas, your Phillips, you need to replace those guys, and you're not going to do it in the draft.
Yeah, no.
You're not going to replace those guys in the draft.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe free agency, but I think you're going to want players back and not necessarily draft picks.
No, agreed. Real quickly, Jim, I mean, are the Oilers going to get in on this before trade deadline stuff? I mean, since February, it's been, 17 trades of 35 different players or something like that? Are the Oilers ever going to step up here?
Well, yeah, I'm sure. I think for them, it'll depend on what's offered. I don't think they'll necessarily be going out and looking for, certain players. I wouldn't mind seeing them pick up a few defensemen myself. I think they're pretty good on forward. Maybe one or two guys to just sort of fill out the offensive side of things. But on defense, I'd be quite happy to see them make a couple of moves there. But I mean, what do you think? I guess it depends who's available.
Yeah, it depends on who's available. You're right. We need to keep a couple veteran people into our transition period with the new kids and stuff. So I don't see needing too much. Looks like we're going to get a high draft pick, so I'm probably going to be okay with that. So maybe defenseman though. Defenseman, you're right. Absolutely. We're really light there, so it'd be nice to see something go there. Jim, we're going to get to the GABBYs now. This is a good and bad by you. We take stories from the world of sport, split them into good and bad, and then bring them to you. We'd like you guys, if you have any good stories or bad stories, to tell us about them. Hit us up on Twitter or on our Facebook page. First one is the good. The Calgary Flames resurgence, Jim, after the firing of General Manager Daryl Sutter on December 28th of last year. Since then, the Flames have put on a 16-4-5 record. They're going into the Heritage Classic. They're sitting inside the playoff cutoff line. Seriously though, what's the deal? I mean, the GM has very little to do with the day-to-day operations, talking to the players on the ice. Could the GM affect the players that much? What's going on there, Jim?
Well, you wonder. Sometimes you make these moves just to shake things up a little bit. If it's the GM, the players look and say, man, the way we were playing, we just cost a guy a job. And, when you're employed and when you're working, you realize that everyone's out there to make money and, feed their families, take care of themselves. So when a guy loses his job in part because of you, that might, light a fire under you, especially when it's, a family thing like that. Maybe that's what it was. They go, oh man, it must have been bad if, they fired the brother.
No, absolutely.
So that could be. It could just be a coincidence. You get to this point in the season and go, unless we start winning now, we're not making the playoffs.
Yeah.
And credit to them, even though I hope they miss the playoffs. They've been playing good hockey.
Yeah.
And so I guess still on the good side of things, the NFL has resumed talks with the Players Association through a mediator, but still resumed the talks. The mediation isn't binding, but I guess it's a positive to see that we're seeing both sides come together and talk, and maybe we'll avoid a lockout in the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, earlier, it was looking like last week, like that was it. All right, we're never coming back to the table. We're definitely going to go to the lockout, and then a week later comes up with mediation. And I like to see that, if they're not going to come to the table together, mediation is nice. It would have been nice to see it be binding because, with mediation, it's like compromise. You're never going to have both sides be happy, right? So that always gives the ability for one to go away from the table. You know what I mean?
I'm still not too convinced because the big issues are money.
Yeah.
And it's big money we're talking about here.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Football is such an alpha male sport that
that's true.
I don't know if compromise is really in their vocab.
On the good side still, got to put Colorado Avalanche's Peter Forsberg on the good side this week. Jim, I know a lot of people are going to be kind of iffy on that, but the 37-year-old retired this week after giving it his best shot by playing 2 games in NHL. Forsberg is a heck of a player and is certainly Hall of Fame worthy in my opinion. At one time he was the best European player playing the game and quite possibly one of the best players ever, and I think we got to give him a good. What do you think?
Yeah, I was hoping it would last more than 2 games, but unfortunately for him, it was the foot. But, it was good to see him come back, make his way all the way back into the bigs. And then I think most people were surprised by what happened. But definitely, like you said, Hall of Fame worthy, I'm sure. And he'll go down as one of the best Europeans. Definitely the first real hybrid, if you will.
Yeah.
North American, European style player. But this leads us into the bad, Jeff.
It does.
Peter Forsberg never really had a chance at coming back. I mean, he took the 2 games to try and decide, but that's after a few weeks of practice. He says, I really tried. I tried and I tried. And he says he's sure with his decision this time. Brett Favre. I wonder. I mean, he had to have known that his foot was causing him problems. Maybe not, but you practice for a couple of weeks. You get into a couple of games. He said he felt his foot sliding in his boot again. I don't know. Do you believe him?
I mean, I believe that he's done. I guess the other side of the thing, I believe that he's done. I don't believe the fact that he gave it the real try. I don't know if this was I don't know what this was. This 2-game coming back. Was it just testing the waters or trying to retire on his own terms? I don't know what it was, but I don't know. I don't know, man. I just don't. I think he's definitely done, except for possibly maybe 2012 in Russia Olympics. But, I guess we'll see. What do you think?
We'll see.
Yeah,
I'm okay with the on his own terms thing.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
Oh, good. On the bad side, Tiger Woods is at the Omega Dubai Desert Classic last week. Was really giving himself a chance to win with this Saturday round up until he shot an ugly 3 over 75 on the Sunday round of the tournament. As is usual with Woods these days, though, his play on the course wasn't the story. On the 12th hole green, he turned his head and spat on the green. Spit, Jim. Apparently this is a huge breach of etiquette, and it forced the European Tour to fine Woods an undisclosed amount of money. Woods later apologized on his Twitter feed, saying that he just wasn't thinking. Can the guy do anything right? And will he ever be the best player in the world ever again?
Oh, how the mighty have fallen.
No kidding.
Poor guy, like you say, he just can't do anything right.
Yeah.
And there's not really much to say there. Let's finish up on the bad side, though. Got to go with the Canadian Soccer Association. Canadian women's team coach Carolina Morace announced earlier this month that she'd be stepping down as coach after the World Cup due to differences between her and the CSA. It's prompted the women's national team to threaten a boycott of the international matches leading up to when the CSA would reinstate the coach. And as well, the team has asked the CSA to compensate them for playing. Currently, the men get paid, but the women don't.
Got to pay them. I know the game isn't the same. I know the women's game as a whole isn't the same. But you got to pay them. Reinstate the coach. Those Canadian women are ranked ninth in the world. The men are ranked nothing. So reinstate the coach.
The women aren't making any money anywhere else.
Yeah, that's true too.
If they're paying the men, you got to pay the women.
Absolutely, I agree. In the meantime, that's our 15 Minutes of Fame we're up for this week. Check us out again next week when we get a whole new 15 Minutes of Fame when Jim comes back to Canada. In the meantime, check us out on our Twitter feed, but have a great week, guys.